Welcome to this podcast for Brighton School of Business and Management students studying for the Btec Level 5 courses. For this unit, you'll need to satisfy the criteria exactly as laid down in the assignment brief and as described here, but you should, wherever possible, use examples from your own organisation and business sector, as well as showing evidence of having studied the unit topics in depth and breadth by referring, where appropriate, to relevant models, theories and established best practices. To enhance your understanding of these assignment issues, we strongly advise that you also discuss them with managers and specialists within your own organisation. Each section should be approximately 500 words, although this is flexible up to around 600 words, not including graphics or illustrations, so you'll need to keep your responses focused on what is being specifically asked for in each section. Section 1. Just as asked, you need to identify an issue or problem where change is needed, not one that has already been carried out. Perhaps talk with your line manager or specialist within your organisation to select one that will be useful to both your organisation and also useful for this assignment. Bear in mind that the need for change can often be due to external forces such as the current recession or the actions of a competitor or a major demographic change. For bullet point 2, you need to briefly describe each of the main change management models and apply one or two of them to your problem or issue. For example, using the simple Lewin 3 steps model, you could describe the current situation, highlighting what is negative, problematic, costly and damaging about it, then describe what changes would need to be carried out to reduce, eliminate or replace the problems, then what the new situation, in other words the outcomes, would be, including the benefits, advantages, etc. Section 2. Moving on from the above, you need to prepare a plan with outline and estimated timescales, human and physical resource requirements, budget and outcomes. Here you should forecast or speculate on the impact on resources, that is physical, human, financial and time resources, of your proposed plan. Finally, describe how you have presented or how you would present your plan to your line manager, the management team, relevant specialists and colleagues, and include the communication methods and channels that you would use. Section 3. Resistance is almost inevitable, but it can be minimised or localised. There are established, proven methods of overcoming or at least minimising resistance to change. An obvious one is to involve as many people as possible in the early discussions, decision making and implementation of a change, but there are others that you will need to research and discuss. As well as resistance from operational employees, you should also mention very briefly the possibility of resistance from suppliers, customers, shareholders, unions and middle to senior managers. On bullet point 2, just as asked, you need to consider straightforward monitoring and control for effective implementation. This is virtually the same approach that you would take for the monitoring and controlling of the implementation stage of any project or plan, but don't forget that the resistance factor here has to be addressed. For bullet point 3, if at all possible, ideally show that your plan has been accepted and implemented. If that is not possible, then prepare a detailed implementation plan with actions, stages, resources, timescales and milestones. Finally, again if at all possible, show some progress checking and review has taken place using SMART objectives, easily researched by entering that phrase into Google. If actual evaluation is not possible, then give a detailed forecast of how you would evaluate the progress of the change implementation, including a range of scenarios such as if resistance increased or decreased, or if costs suddenly rose, or if a key person left the organisation. Don't forget that you also need to add a list of sources of information and references, showing any books, websites, articles, case studies, reports, internal documents and people interviewed that you drew on in order to complete your assignment. The sources of information and references are not included in your word count. Here is a list of websites you should find useful when completing this assignment. Finally, if you need any further help or assistance with your assignment, please contact your tutor.